Be Like Mike, the classic, the iconic Gatorade jingle, of course, written about Michael Jordan. How did that all come to be?
Well, what happened was Gatorade had just signed Michael to a long-term deal, and I think this was the first commercial, if I'm not mistaken, that was going to represent with him for Gatorade. And originally, what they had done was they shot the footage of the commercial, and for the music, they had decided they were going to license the song from the Jungle Book, the Disney movie, I Want to Be Like You. At the very last moment, negotiations fell through, and I had a music company at that time, and what we do is mostly music for commercials, and they called us, and they called us on a Thursday, and they said we need it by Friday. It was a competition, and we won the competition. I think it went on air Monday or Tuesday. They wanted to use that song, I Want to Be Like You. They wanted an original song that sounded nothing like that.
Let's move ahead now to just the creative process of the song. Were you one of the co-writers of the song, or did you and a partner write the music? How did the creative process come about?
So, for your audience, just in general, to know that for music and advertising, for commercials, typically the advertising agency will write the lyrics or have the saying, and then they go to a music company to write the actual melody and produce the song. So the actual lyrics were written by Bernie Pitzel, who was in charge of the Gatorade account for an agency called Bayer Best Vanderwalker. And he came to our office with the lyrics, and I wrote the song, and then my partner, Steve Schaefer, produced it. And that's how we sort of worked. So I wrote the tune, Bernie wrote the lyrics, Steve did the production, and the three things combined is what you hear.
How long did it take you to put the music together? Do you remember?
I do. It took about, honestly, writing the actual melody took probably 10 or 15 minutes. Producing it with all the different vocalists and stuff like that took hours. But I knew exactly what it should be when I wrote it. And so the actual, to sit at a piano and write the melody was not that hard. The production of it and bringing the singers in and figuring out who was going to sing what, and then all of the improvised, I want to be, things like that. The bass line, boom, 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 things like that. That took a while.
Okay, fair enough. So now let's stay with Be Like Mike for a moment. So when the song was completed, was there a test run or a trial run? Or should I, let me ask this question. When the jingle was completed, did you have an opportunity to present it to Bernie and the advertising execs at Gatorade? Did they like it at first? Did they make you change anything or revise anything to the jingle?
No, actually, so what happened, typically in those days, this was before digital anything. This was 1991, I believe. So you would either send a cassette, maybe you would send a CD. So you would literally send a cassette to their office, or they would come to your recording studio and listen. In this case, Bernie came to the recording studio. I think he had been at the other two music companies already, and he was not very happy with what they had done. And then he heard what we did, and he just went crazy and said, that's it. He brought it to, I believe, the heads of Gatorade, who also loved it. And then there were some minor lyric fixes that we did on the weekend, and then it went on the air Monday night, I believe.
Oh, wow, that's amazing how the creative process works and how that all came about. Let's stay with the jingle now. So, of course, you and your partners and the people that were involved in it loved the creative process. The people at Gatorade were excited about it. But one other person that you had to win it over on, and that's Mr. Airtime himself, Michael Jordan. Did you have an opportunity to meet him? And if so, what was his reaction to the first time he heard the jingle?
Yeah, to be honest, I never met Michael. I've been actually in the same room. I was actually in the same room. They did a huge presentation to unveil the commercial after it had already been on the air. And there were probably a couple hundred people there, and Michael was there. My assistant, who I worked very closely with, she had met him, and from what she told me, he really likes the jingle, but I personally never met him. Now, Bernie, who, came up with the lyrics and shot all of the video, he's met Michael many times, and I believe, Michael really liked it.
Okay, awesome, Tia. So now let's go back to the early '90s, 1992, when the jingle premiered. Where were you when you first saw it being featured on the Gatorade commercial?
Well, I don't recall the show, but I knew it was going to air. So I was actually having dinner with some family, and I made them keep the television on, and then I got to see it on TV. It was at nighttime. It was like Monday night. I don't remember the show, but I know it was going to air, and it did. And then it wasn't long before the phone calls just kept coming in all over the country. They wanted, music. It's all very competitive, and everybody wanted to know who wrote that, because it was really a game changer in music advertising at that point. Because if you go back and listen to what was going on, there was nothing really quite like it. It was much more, I'll use the word jingly, snap, crackle, pop, Rice Krispies, that kind of stuff. And here comes this thing that sounds like it's a record produced for a commercial. It really hadn't been done a lot. And our phone just rang off the hook from New York, L.A. Everybody just called us and wanted us to do their music.
Wow, that's awesome, Tia. It's amazing how one song, or not just one jingle, but really one song can change the trajectory of everything. Of course, it paid off big dividends for Michael Jordan and his career, and it paid off big dividends for your career. As you mentioned, that the phone wouldn't stop ringing off the hook. So during that period of time, before BeLikeMike, did you have a steady career in the music business, or was it just something that was hit and miss?
My partner, Steve Schaefer, and I, we started our own music company, I think, in '89 or '88, and we had a hugely successful career in Chicago. And again, in Chicago is a little different than New York or L.A., but there's a lot of advertising music in Chicago. Kellogg's, Allstate, the Disney account was here, McDonald's. So we did a lot of things, but the BeLikeMike thing took us to more of an international level. We got called to do, Cathay Pacific Airlines. There was a huge competition, things like that. It just changed a lot of things for us, but we had a lot of success prior.
Okay, fair enough. Now let's stay with Michael Jordan for a moment. Did you have an opportunity to check out TheLastDance documentary?
Yes.
Any memories you have of the documentary? Anything that stood out to you, whether it be maybe the first three-peat or the second three-peat, or even things pertaining to the Gatorade BeLikeMike commercial?
The thing about, I think, what we failed to realize with history and time going by, and if I always wanted to, I played basketball my whole life, so it was something I just always loved to do. And the interesting thing to me upon seeing the Last Dance was it became clear to me that there should be no discussion as to who the GOAT is. I mean, period. And you watch this and see all that he's done and all that he did. It became clear to me, I think to a lot of people, that there's no discussion to have. He is the greatest of all time, and his will, his drive, his determination, and the stories about him he doesn't want to lose in cards. He hated to lose, and he would turn it up to a level. I don't know if we've ever seen it like that.
So I guess that when someone brings up Mr. LeBronJames, I guess you don't want to hear it, huh?
Well, yeah, look, I mean, we could discuss whatever we want, but I think time has faded away the memory of how amazing he was. And, when you go to the championships 6 times and you win all 6, 6-0, I think that stands it's by itself. But then you just watch him play. I think you forget, and he was incredible. The game against Boston, he was just unbelievable. I think we all a little bit forgot how amazing he was. But this documentary, I think, showed the world again how amazing he is.
Yeah, so many great highlights. And you mentioned that playoff game against Larry Bird and the Celtics, which was no pushover, and their own rights put up 63 at the Boston Garden that night. So let's stay with MJ for a moment. So now MJ has cemented his legacy with Gatorade. As you mentioned, he signed the long-term endorsement deal with Gatorade. After BeLikeMike, did you continue to compose anything for Gatorade, not just for Michael, but any other of the other athletes that they had signed during that period of time?
I don't remember exactly, because what happened was sometimes with advertising, wherever the account is depends on who chooses the music. And right after the Bayer Best Vanderwalker was the advertising agency. At some point, it went to an agency called Foot, Cone, and Belding. And we did music for, in other words, a lot of times there's background music in commercials, or there's actually songs, you know. So I've definitely done other Gatorade commercials, but nothing as prominent as the BeLikeMike commercial.
A drink that you created called 120 Life, and it's a drink that helps lower your blood pressure. What ingredients are in this, or if you could like to share that with our audience?
So I had a health issue, and my blood pressure went through the roof. My doctor was like, if you don't get your blood pressure down in 3 weeks, we're going to have to do open heart surgery. And my first question to him was, well, what's high blood pressure? Now, everybody knows what can happen if you have high blood pressure, but very few people know exactly what it is and what causes it. So they put me on all kinds of medication, and I read everything I could because I had literally 3 weeks to lower my blood pressure. And I did lower it. You know, I read everything I could. And then for the next 6 months, I sort of became obsessed with what ingredients, about reading about different things that naturally lower your blood pressure. So one day I said, wow, if pomegranate juice with studies lowers your blood pressure, if beet juice or beet powder lowers your blood pressure, if hibiscus tea lowers your blood pressure, you know, and I'm adding all the numbers in my head. Pomegranate juice lowers your blood pressure 10%, beet powder 8%. I'm thinking, if all of these things were added together, conceivably you could lower your blood pressure 40%. So off to Whole Foods I went, because nobody had created this drink, and I just bought the 6 ingredients I had been reading about and figured, okay, there's got to be a way to put them together, which is what I did. So again, there's hibiscus tea, pomegranate juice, beet powder, magnesium, which is really important, tart cherry juice, not cherry juice, tart cherry and cranberry. And those are the 6 ingredients. One of the number one causes of death is if you have high blood pressure. So that's one of the reasons right now our drink has been like flying off the shelf, so to speak. So it's all natural, very, very healthy. And if you try it and for some reason it doesn't help you, we just give you your money back.
Okay, fair enough. So, 120 Life, the drink sounds awesome. I think I'm going to have to test it out and then give it a shot. So tell our audience out there again, where can they pick up 120 Life?
Yeah, so it's just the number 120 life, LIFE.com, 120life.com, or on Amazon. And again, if you have high blood pressure, this can be a way to begin the process to help lower it. And if for some reason it doesn't help, we'll just give you your money back, guaranteed.
Okay, fair enough. So, again, you can pick up the drink at 120life.com and also on Amazon and eBay. Ira, before we let you go, give our audience out there your social media platforms and your website.
I'm on Facebook and things like that. Just my name, IraAntelis. I'm on Facebook.
Now, I have to ask you a lighthearted question before we get out of here. Do residuals come in for that? Do you still earn a substantial income from BeLikeMike jingle?
Well, the way commercials used to work, and it still technically works that way, but there's not a lot of them anymore. So commercial, if you sang on the commercial, if you were, let's say, one of the 8 singers on the BeLikeMike commercial, every time it played, you would get money. So let's just say it played, and you got $50 every time it played. But if it played 100 times a day, start doing the numbers. Years ago in the 90s, commercials could run for 6 months or even a year. Now commercials run for 2 weeks, 4 weeks. So yes, all of the singers on BeLikeMike still get money every time it's played, but it's somewhat minimal now because they don't have the frequency of it being played every 100 times a day or something like that.
Okay, well, I learned something new today, so that's it right there. We want to, you heard it from him. He's IraAntelis. He's a musician, composer, and also an entrepreneur. Make sure you check out his business ventures. Again, that's 120life.com, where you can pick up the drink that helps you lower your blood pressure. And also, you can check out the website. So, Ira, thank you so much for being on the program. And if ever you want to come back on, feel free to let us know.
Okay, well, thanks so much for reaching out. It's great to talk to you. And everybody stay safe and be well. Thanks so much.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. You got to see that's how I dream to be.
I dream I move,
I dream I groove.
like Mike. If I could be like Mike.
Oh, if I could be like Mike.
Like Mike.
If I could be like
Mike.
Mike.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.